sit. Good. We are here in a very busy place. Can be very stressful. You can see she's panting a lot, but even though she's overstimulated by being in busy places, obviously, she still has enough of a sit stay to stay there. And when you're doing this and she has a successful sit stay, come back next to her, reward exactly like this, eye contact, straight down, good. She's literally looking at me in the eyes when she takes the treat. So try to avoid that old-fashioned thing where you go like that and the giant hand comes out of the sky, somehow attached to you, sort of, kind of. You want to have that eye contact. You want to have, this is very powerful. You're above her, good. She's staring at you as you give her the food from above. It seems like a little thing, but if you keep doing it, it can change. Little things like that we're doing. Here's a cart going past. And she got a really solid stay now. So there's a bunch of little things in this training like that you start doing differently that really changes the dog's perception of you over time and makes them believe that you are much more in control than before. I'm going to let her be free for a second. I'm going to pat her chest and say, go. Now she's free on free time. So much of this, the training that I've done is about the details like that, because it's all about changing the dog's perception of you, doing things in ways that make them feel like, oh, she's in charge, he's in charge. If they start thinking that, really getting it, that you are, things have changed and you're handling her differently and you're more in control, and then she's way more likely to listen to you out in public if you have to say, come, or doing downstays or sit stays like this. Okay. Stay. Down. Good. And you notice we're never repeating the command. She's got a solid down stay, a solid sit stay now. You don't have to repeat commands at all. But if, for example, she doesn't go down the first time you say D-O-W-N, don't ever repeat a command, because if you repeat the command, even if you say it twice, you're diluting the power of it. And remember, this is all about establishing a pattern. The pattern is she hears it once and she goes there. That's why we do it this way. That's why she does it almost every time the first time I say it now. But if while you're practicing and see it's okay. And all the people that are passing by and all the distractions, she's staying down there. We're actually filming this right there. Yeah. And now you, yeah. Doing it this way is what makes you have it, and we're practicing on a leash, of course, every time, because I never, from day one, ever said the command twice. And if she didn't do it, and in the beginning she didn't just like drop like that, and I knew that I had to. Okay, I'll show you. So let's pretend this is the first day of practicing with her. It was like down. And my left foot would go up and just apply a little bit of pressure on that leash, and all she knows is that she heard the command once and she went there. And I didn't do down, wait for her to ignore me or not do it, and then force her down. You notice it's all together. Since I know that her down wasn't as solid as I wanted it to be, just for a couple weeks I just went down. You say it at the very moment that you do it, and pretty soon you don't have to do the foot part because she's used to doing it as you say it. So it works pretty well, as you can see. Stay, and with the sit as well, down stay, sit stay, is not said. See, people can even, well, we're actually filming this right now. Yeah, that's okay, but you can walk past if you want. It's okay. So this is a great place. You can see all the distractions, the strangers walking up, things happening, coming from all sides. And not that you would actually come and practice here or place this active, but I'm just showing you that the skills that she's gained here with her stays and other things, and also practicing in different places like this enable her to handle whatever distractions are happening at your house. And I'm going to reward her. So you want to know, make sure she doesn't touch your hand. Nope. Make sure she waits. Nope. Right there. Good. Make sure you always put the reward in front of her and she waits respectfully like that. Good. Until you withdraw. But make sure that you're never repeating the commands. The stay is built in. That's what I was saying a moment ago. The stay is built in to down and sit. So what she's doing now is she's waiting for us to release her, and we don't have to do the hand signals and the stay commands and all that stuff. We don't have to do that. Good. She's doing so well. People are walking within 6 inches of her, and all she wants to do, it's a slippery floor, so she's trying to get that little treat off there. All she wants to do is stay there, and also, just doing this, like walking behind the dog, and her accepting the fact that I'm behind her, walking around her, she's not popping up. Of course, that took a little while to teach her to do, but that's how we started, and then we worked up to doing stays like this in the presence of lots of distractions. But if you just did this in your house, in your living room, in your backyard, in your driveway, just to really get practiced with this, get her used to doing it with you, it would go along, just this would go a long way. Not even coming to a place like this, but if you wanted to, if you wanted to make her better and better and hone your skills as far as a handler, you could start coming to places like this as well, and she would just get better and better. So the way that we are going to release her, she's always waiting for us to come next to her. You never call her out of a down stay or sit stay, because that will increase her anticipation, and our anticipation is our enemy. So we don't want to be sometimes calling her to us 20 feet away out of a down stay or sit stay, and sometimes she's supposed to wait there. It would be really hard for her to know what we're about to do. So she's going to be on pins and needles. Like right now, she's like, she would be like, is he going to do the hand signal and have me come to her or him, or am I supposed to wait? So we never do that. We always just teach her one way. I don't care what happens. I don't care what distraction passes by. I don't care what noise happens. You stay in your down stay or sit stay until I come back to get you, which of course is the only safe thing to do in real life anyway. You're never going to do this out in public and call her, drop the leash and call her from a distance. So this kind of stay is also really the most important part of it, is that we're after the byproduct of being able to stay like this for this long. Okay, sit. So I said, okay, she stood up, I had her sit. Always release her from a sit stay. I pat on her chest and she's slipping on the slippery floor. Nope. We'll reset her so we can release her properly. Go. Now she's free. So really, we're doing all these sit stays and down stays in the presence of ever increasing levels of distractions, because when we release her, we want her to be a little bit calmer every day. We just want her to be able to handle more stress in her everyday life so that she's less triggered. She comes back home to you, and she's easier to handle in those situations because the doorbell's not ringing, she's not going nuts, for example. Or at the very least, you can walk past. Thank you. At the very least, no matter what happens, even if she's getting out of control in one way or another, you can just say, come, and call her to you, since her recall is so good. And now she's on free time and she can do whatever she wants. She wants to lay down, she can. But basically those are the concepts of the stay, and this is how she's doing it in the presence of so many distractions. Okay. And this might be a little bit more of a trickier place, because we have a lot of big carts that go past, and sometimes she's been triggered by the big orange carts that go past, like, oh, here's one now. Let's see what she does. So you see, I practice this every day for a long time now. So good. So if she hears it behind her, she's usually going to associate, oh, look back at whoever's doing this with her, which would be me most of the time. And look at this. I'm going to lure her to be down right there. Good. So now the distraction triggers her to, she'll notice it, but then she chooses to turn back to look at me, and I pay her. So this behavior gets stronger and stronger as we practice it. That's really what you want. You want you know, any distraction, and basically that's what all these exercises are, is to kind of teach her that a distraction is a distraction is a distraction. So it may be not absolutely the exact same distraction. It can't be exactly the same as what's happening in your house. We'll have to practice that there when I start bringing her back to you. But we can pretty much simulate a very active life, real world life, just being at this store because of all the different distractions here. And if we can make her be able to stay in downstays and sit stays with all the stuff going on around her and people walking past and all of that, then we know she can do way better at your house as well. Whatever has been happening at your house, she's going to be easier to manage now after all this practicing. Good. Now this cart that's coming up, you don't have to show it, it's going to pass by, but this is what would really trigger her a lot, is this noisy cart. So good, before it actually even comes to us, or it's passing, two of them, I'm rewarding her because, you know, using food rewards, high value rewards like this are, and doing it at the right moment is very important to desensitize. This one's a tough one. Here, look at that, good girl. See that? See how she got triggered by that? It's that kind of, it's got a bad wheel or something. It sounds different than the others, but she still stayed there. And what I was about to say was, if she's munching on rewards as a distraction comes towards us, it keeps her calm enough to stay there, to keep the focus, to stay in a downstay. You can see she's panting. It's not a hot day. She's overstimulated, but she still has solid enough training to be able to focus and stay there no matter what's going on. And I can tell you that the first day we started practicing here, there was a cart like that made that loping kind of noise, like a bad wheel, and she couldn't even handle it. I had to take her back because she just freaked out. She was afraid, she was running away from it. So now, nope. Good, now we built her up to the point where she can handle it. And that was pretty good for her to do. So we're going to take her out of this downstay, which is always when you're releasing out of a downstay, you go up next to her and you say, okay. And then you have her sit, because everything ends with a sit stay. Everything starts with a calm sit stay, and everything ends with a sit stay where you're never restraining her. She's waiting until you pat her chest, go, and she's free. Sit. I want to show you how I've been taking Graycie through boundaries, through gateways. You sit, you have her sit, you walk through, she waits till you come back to get her. Okay, we have another gate here, sit, and all gates are different. These are not the easiest gates to manage because they close automatically, so depends on the kind of gate you're going through. You might have to hold it open like that, but she sits and waits. You can always prop it open with a foot and then come back next to her. See how she's really waiting until I say, okay. She comes through. I make sure she doesn't pull me through. If she pulls you through, just tap her a couple of times and she'll stop. So it's always the tap and release you want to do. And then on the outside, and I'll just do it while you're there, sit. After you go through the boundaries, you have her sit and you tap her chest and say, go, and then she's free. We're actually showing the owners how to greet somebody, and you don't know this dog, so it's good. It's a nice dog though. All right, so you ready? Okay. Okay, sit. We're approaching the person that we want her to greet respectfully. You step away from her. She knows what we're doing because we do this every day with somebody different every day, sometimes multiple times. She gets up, you say no. Doing that little do-over circle like that, resetting her, enables her to make a better choice the next time. It's so much better than letting her make mistake after mistake after mistake as she stares. Nope. Because then she could get stuck in that pattern of mistake after mistake. So I would have said no and put her back. And this is in a new environment with a new person. We've never done it here before. I'm even going to throw in a little sit stay, which is extra hard for her to do. So she really wants that treat, you can tell. But she has to focus a little extra long while I do the sit stay before I send her over. And then I'm going to send her over to you. All you have to do is put that treat on her level and let her take it. And then I'm going to call her back to come to me. Nope. So if she tries to go over before you allow her to, you could just say no and tap and release, and she'll go back into her sit. So she's waiting for my right hand to pat her chest and say, go say hi. She gets the treat. I say, come. Good. You see, we've done this so many times that sit. Now the pattern is to come right back to me, not jump on the person or any of that kind of stuff that she may or may not have done. She's going to be different with different people, of course, so we always do this with every dog because we never know really what they're doing at home. But it's just a great way to practice. I'm going to wait till this car passes by here. Great way to practice a lot of her commands. Go say hi. Come. Good. You get to practice her come command. You get to practice sit. Her going over and respectfully greeting somebody. And next time she can take the treat out of your hand and your other hand can pet her. So if everything good is happening, on ground level, there's no reason for her to jump because she's got the hands down there. She's got the treat, she's got the hands. The reason dogs jump is because people are correcting them. They jump, they wait till they jump, they push them down, they talk to them, they say their name, they say leave it, whatever. And so that's the attention that the dogs get for jumping. There you go, last time. Go say hi. You can pet her. Come, if she wants to be petted, good. But this works really well because she always wants to run back to you. You start doing this a lot and she wants to run back to you. She's all about these treats. These are some really yummy lamb treats, lamb chips that she really likes. So use a high value reward when you're doing this. And even if you don't have the high value reward, come. Good, and she's straying over there, so I just call her back to come to me. Over time, we're phasing the food out for almost everything anyway. And for example, I can call her back to me with no treat, which I'll show you in a second. But thank you for helping. Okay, so practicing the come command with her, I would suggest you do it exactly the way I've been doing it if you want to have this pretty solid come command that I have right now. And that is, when you're practicing, if you practice the same way every time, it will become like second nature, and you won't have to think about it. So the way that I do it, like if I'm walking her, it's free time like that, come, she goes to something like that, good, like there's a little puddle of water there, I don't want her to drink out of or whatever she was interested in there. I'm just going to call her away from it. There's no more leave it, because leave it or shushing noises or snapping your fingers or anything like that is not a command that engages her mind to do something instead. But COME is. And every time you're practicing calling her away from anything, could be anything, her come command's getting stronger and stronger. Having a really strong come command where she's used to coming away from anything that she's interested in could easily save her life someday. So that's why it's so much easier for you as well. It's less words, less noises, less things to do, no snapping, no shushing noises. Come, just the come command. Good, and you see each time I do it, left hand leash, it's over your wrist so that you can't possibly lose the leash. Also, your left hand is free, right hand reward. Come! There's something there on the ground that she's really interested in. Good. Always call her to this target because you're setting yourself up for success when there's no leash and there's no treat. She doesn't know it's empty. Come! Good, because I say good and I pet her every time I practice with a treat. Now I can just do it over and over again. Good girl. She turns back to me because she's already realizing I'm going to be calling her back to come to her every time, come to me. And so she'll just start coming automatically. So I can even I'm going to throw a little lamb chip as a distraction to get her to go away from me. Go. No, you didn't go far enough. It's over there. It's right here, on the ground, right there. Come. Good girl, good. That was a third time with no treat. So You always practice with treats, so in an emergency, you do this, and she wants to come to it. She doesn't know it's empty. She's always trying to hit the lottery. And after you practice as much as I have for the last 3 weeks, doing this every day, 20, 30, 40 times a day, she really doesn't know why she needs to come back to you when you say come, when she sees this. She just knows that she loves to do that. So always practice this way, because if you practice with the rewards in the way I'm showing you, it'll work when you don't have the rewards. Also notice that I always back away, because when you stand still, it's not half as good. And then when it's okay. You stand still, it's not half as good. When you back away, she's drawn to you. If you chase her, she'll run away. So body language is really important in a lot of this. Come, you back away. See this empty target hand? She can't help herself. Good. Make sure you say good and pet her, especially if you don't have a treat. But you do that with a treat anyway. So always say good and pet her. Back away, even if you can't back away the way I did, then at least come, move away like that. Do something where you move back. It just makes a huge difference rather than standing still all the time. You practice that way so that if you do have your back to the wall or something, because the last 1,000 times you've done that, all she knows is she runs to you because of the way you practice. When you can't back up, she's going to run to you because she doesn't know anything else. So once again, we're set up for success by the way we practice. We make her be able to do it anywhere, anytime, any place, because of the way we're practicing it. So this is extra good because we're in a parking lot. A lot of people are picking up the dogs, distractions, so it's extra good. Come! There's somebody got out of the car. Good. Right to the side of us there. Side of the camera. So that's how to practice the come command. And of course, you're always practicing on leash. You practice on leash so that when she's off leash, it's a really, really good chance that it works off leash because of the way you practiced on leash. Come! And I just, did an impromptu recall. She really likes this dog. We just came into this yard and there's a dog over there, and I let go of the leash because I know she wanted to go over there, and I just showed you, good girl, I showed you how she can do just on the cuff, like seeing a distraction. Come! If she runs towards something, good, very good. Another dog, somehow, God forbid, you drop the leash or she gets away from you, use that recall. Do exactly the way I've done it, and even if you don't have a treat, go say hi to that dog. Go. So she doesn't know this is going to be empty. Come. Good, good. But see, we practiced so much. Before I said the recall command, she was already on her way back. So you practice like that. So I've done the heavy lifting. She knows how to do this. But if you just continue, like just practice a few a day like that, it'll get better when you're doing it. The more people that she does it with, the better the dog always gets. You don't have to do it 50 times a day like I've been doing it for the last few weeks, but just keep doing it exactly the way I'm doing it. Don't do it without rewards at first, because I can do it because I've called her so many times to me. Now, all she knows is when she hears my voice, she's going to come to me. But you need to do it with rewards for a while, and don't phase it out. Don't phase the treats out for a while unless it's an emergency. And in an emergency, come. Good girl. Make sure that in an emergency, which implies she's off leash or she got away from you somehow, one hand grabs, put your hand under the collar so she doesn't just grab the treats or realize that there's nothing there and then take off again. So always make sure that you have her like that if there's no leash. If she has a leash on, grab her leash, of course. But don't be practicing without food. Sit. You always have her sit in front of the mat. And then with she's on her left, so with the right hand, I'm going to say, go to your mat. Lead her onto the mat, and then you say down. She's never been on this mat before, and she's never done this exercise in our office. This is our office. So I wanted to do this in a way that was as difficult as possible, and committed to film so you could see how she is in a new place, on a new mat that I hardly ever use. I'm not going to be using this mat when I come to your house. Good, but you see it's just like the downstay without the mat. In fact, from day one, I did this exercise with her because we did this exercise every day. That is the reason that she's got such a great downstay out in public in the presence of distractions. Because of this, nope. Make sure she really waits. Good. Excuse me. Remember that the dog is only going to be as calm and the dog is only going to be as good as the person handling her. So try to do exactly what I'm doing. So you're coming out in front of her. She's waiting. You swing in with the little treat in your hand. No. Make sure that you pull back if she tries to touch your hand or grab it out of your hand, which she will because she's used to doing that with you. So she waits. You place it on the mat and you withdraw. Good. That was a doorbell. See the doorbell? And she stayed there. Good. And that was a great distraction. We have people walking around now. Good. So we wanted to practice with the doorbell like that.
Yeah, we're going to bring her right out. Let me find out for you.
Good. See how she looked at the distraction, then looked back at me, and I paid her? So this is great. And she's never practiced here before, and now we have people walking behind her. And I just wanted to show you how she acts to a doorbell. And now, good. Now I'm going to close this door and go knock on it, which we can practice at your house as well. So you're going to have to kind of show me, maybe angle and show me going out here. If you're going to do something that you think is difficult for her to handle, it's okay to remind her before you do it. It's okay to say, down. Make sure that she doesn't turn off the mat. She needs to stay sideways. Down. I'm going to close this door. Knock on the door. Come. Okay, why don't you go sit behind the desk where everything's safe. We're going to do this again. Down. Good. You might have to do this 3 or 4 times. Good. So that was our 3rd attempt, and she finally got it. And she gets a reward. Good. So that was exactly how you're going to practice anything new that you find that she can't handle, because she knows how this game goes. In her mind, this is a game. She knows. We've done this so many times with so many different situations. I just added another situation to her repertoire that she can handle, and this is exactly how you do it. You're going to have to reset her, put her back. Reset her, put her back. I think it was the 3rd or 4th time that I did it. She did it successfully. We've never even done any training in this room before in this office. We have all these distractions. And so she's doing really well. And every time that you add a new skill to her repertoire and you practice in a new place, just overall the training gets better. She gets calmer. Just like out in public, she waits until you come back to get her. And you say, okay, you lead her off the mat. I'm going to have her facing the camera. You have her sit, and then you release her from a calm sit stay, go, and she's free.